The government claims that they have won the war. Have they actually? And have the Tamil people's aspirations being met in this victory?
In answer to your question, I will first say that the LTTE as a terrorist organization has been decisively defeated. Yes. Although the methods used in achieving this victory are questionable, I think the whole nation, even including me, we are extremely happy that the LTTE as a terrorist fighting force has been defeated. In fact, again, I like to remind some of your viewers, especially at a time when none of the great flag-waving patriots of today wouldn't dare speak about the atrocities of the LTTE in the 1990s and in early 2000. From the very first day I entered Parliament, those speeches are very much there in the Hansard. I have been one of the most vociferous critics of the LTTE and its methods. And that's why, as I said, in the year 2000 elections of October, as a result of intelligence reports received that there was going to be an attempt on several lives on the day of the election at the polling booths. For the first time in the history of Sri Lanka, the elections commissioner gave gazetted giving 5 people the right to vote from their homes, and the 5 people were Chandrika Kumaratunga as the president, Ratnasiri Wickramanayake as Prime Minister, Foreign Minister Lakshman Kadiragama, Anuruddha Ratwatte and myself, because of the very serious threat by the LTTE to eliminate us on that particular day. And of course, several times, many people who were arrested were wrecking me along with many others during that period. So, LTTE as a fighting force has been defeated. We are all happy about it. But even at that time, I always used to say, even if the LTTE is defeated, and I have even used to say the same phrase, even if Prabhakaran is killed, if we do not address the root causes of this problem, the root causes which led to the formation of a very brutal terrorist group like the LTTE in Sri Lanka, then we will only be laying the foundation for the birth of many more Prabhakarans in the future. So that is what is happening today. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the LTTE has been decisively defeated, I would say that the peace has yet not been won. Why did we want to defeat the LTTE? Why did we want to end the war? We wanted to defeat them because they were an obstacle to peace. Because Sri Lanka needs peace if we are to develop as a modern nation. As you know, Sri Lanka in 1948, when we gained independence, was considered one of the potential Switzerlands of Asia, as they said. We had all the right things going for us. Human resources, natural resources, and the Times of London, I believe, had written an editorial on the day of our independence saying that undoubtedly in a short period of time, Sri Lanka, or Ceylon as it was then, will become the Switzerland of the East. Even as late as 1965, Lee Kuan Yew, the new Prime Minister of then Singapore, actually said, my ambition or my objective is to surpass the GDP of Ceylon in 5 years' time, meaning that Ceylon was considered more developed than Singapore in 1965. But 61 years after independence, we are one of the poorest nations in the world because we had been involved in a war. the various communities who have lived together for thousands of years have been at each other's throat. So that is why we wanted peace, yet we have not learned any lessons. Obviously the Rajapaksa administration has not learned any lessons from history, because now they are repeating the same mistakes they did before. In fact, why I am very, very sad is the defeat of the LTTE, which must be appreciated, which must be congratulated. As I said, not only to one family or just one section of people, all the political leaders and all the army forces people from 83 onwards who made it possible, must be commended. But are we using this opportunity? Now the LTTE is no more. And this should have been the time to create the basis for a durable peace. A peace which could last for centuries. But unfortunately, instead of doing that, we are whatever little trust we may, the Tamil community may have had in us, is now already been lost. In those camps in the north, I mean, they are breeding many future Prabhakarans. The way they have been kept against their will in barbed wire camps. I know some of your readers get extremely hysterical and upset, but I will reiterate what my stand. These are not IDPs, these are FTPs, forcibly detained persons. And you don't have to even, I'm just keeping this. Now look at, the army itself was saying that there were 10,000 people who had escaped from this camp. Underline escape. People escape from camps when they are incarcerated, when they are kept against their will. So these people haven't got the basic human right of movement. Sometimes one family is divided. The father is in one camp, the daughter is another camp. For months they haven't seen each other. There is no proper registration and people are disappearing from these camps daily. It's a shocking state of affairs, you see. And as a Sri Lankan, my heart goes out for them, because I have always, whether it was in the late 80s when it happened to the Sinhalese in the south, and now happening to the Tamils in the north, I have always raised my voice against such atrocities. In fact, I was reading my maiden speech in Parliament in 1989 April recently, and in that I was criticizing the then government in no uncertain terms for the brutal human rights violations of that time. The second speech in 1989 I made was about the condition of the Sinhala youth held in the Busa camp. And 20 years later, when I'm talking about the state of Tamil people in the camps, you're called a traitor. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see the difference between Tamils and the when the Sinhalese is suffering, to talk about it is patriotic, and when the Tamils are suffering,